We'll play the soundbite of the president weighing in here, and then we'll get your thoughts about it.
Some of what I've heard coming out of Wisconsin, where you're just making it harder for public employees to collectively bargain generally, seems like more of an assault on unions. And I think it's very important for us to understand that public employees, they're our neighbors. They're our friends. These are folks who are teachers, and they're firefighters, and they're social workers, and they're police officers. You know, they make a lot of sacrifices and make a big contribution, and I think it's important not to vilify them or to suggest that somehow all these budget problems are due to public employees. So I think everybody's got to make some adjustments, but I think it's also important to recognize that public employees make enormous contributions to the well-being of our states and our cities.
Congressman.
Sam, that was a local interview the president did. Why is he weighing in on this?
Well, Wisconsin's actually becoming a major national story. The president, anyone who watches these budget battles, is a bit late to the fight here. I mean, this type of rhetoric was happening well before Wisconsin in places like New Jersey, where Chris Christie was making a big show of going after public unions. At some point, the president did have to engage because it's a much broader story than just collective bargaining, wages, or pensions. It's about who has to sacrifice to get the books on balance. And it would be very odd, I would think, if a Democratic president didn't stand up for public unions. As the White House has had a tough go with the relationship with unions to begin with, but it would be spectacular if the president didn't come to the side of the people who are protesting in Wisconsin, so I'm not surprised.
And also the Organizing for America also helped with the rally to basically get people to put pressure on the governor.
Well, I talked to someone from OFA today, and they didn't want to overstate their influence. They don't want to be perceived as sort of the freedom works of this rally, as in the Tea Party supporting a corporate sponsor. They obviously support what these ralliers are doing. They are not shipping people, and they're not trying to, gin up the protest, but they are showing solidarity to what they're doing.
Right. So tension for the president and OFA, which is essentially his political arm, both to be involved, but not so involved that they are meddling in a state.
Exactly.
Andy, let me ask you a question about where this might go from here. As Sam mentioned, this started out in New Jersey, and there are other states in which they are facing the same kinds of, certainly the same pressures in all kinds of states, but also this move to getting rid of collective bargaining, which tends to be something that Republican governors are interested in. How do you see it spreading throughout the rest of the country?
Well, Sam's exactly right that this is part of just the bigger story of who is going to take the hits. I mean, the thing is, we're seeing all this drama in Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's not even one of the states facing, a huge crisis. You look at a state like California, of course, they have a Democratic governor, but, the difference there is he's been able to get the unions on board and agreeing to take the cuts. I mean, but what Republicans are doing here, and it's pretty clear, is it's a great political play, and also something that they promise to do, is they're making sure that the public employees are really kind of taking the big cuts here. They're the ones who have been kind of vilified on the campaign trail this last time around, and Walker is just one of many Republican governors who's going to go right after these guys. And unless there's proof that there's going to be some sort of penalty they have to pay here, it looks like Republicans in a lot of states, of course Ohio, Florida, are going to be able to really make some deep cuts in these public employee unions.
David, let me ask you, the president spoke out, so did John Boehner. How does what's happening in Wisconsin, what the Republican governor is trying to do in Wisconsin, match up with what Republicans are trying to do in Congress?
It matches up quite well in terms of Republicans in Washington and in the states are trying to pare down the size of government. They think it's too large. They're very concerned about a number of either unfunded mandates or formulaic mandates that are the biggest part of the budget problem, even if you agree with what public employee unions make, even if you agree with entitlement programs. If you want to deal with the budget and the debt and the deficit, you have to deal with all of these. What I found interesting yesterday was people in Washington, not just the president, throwing their hat into the ring into this fight in Wisconsin. You had the speaker come out with a statement supporting. You had Senate Majority Whip Dick Durbin coming out with a statement supporting the other side, and so everybody's sort of getting into the mix here. The interesting thing about Wisconsin is that the governor there did something that I think was politically very smart. He left firefighters and cops out of the mix, and in 2005, when I covered then Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's move to overhaul state pensions in California, he didn't do that, and it was a tactical disaster. where even people that supported the move in California said, well, we can't hurt the first responders. So I think the governor there might be in good shape.
And the governor was given support by those first responders in his campaign. So he's playing smart politics as well.